Everybody, welcome to Back to Class Friday. I know we didn't have one last week. I apologize, but we're back on schedule this time. Cross our fingers. I know that usually I'm doing the look while I'm telling you the story, but I'm a sentimental crier, and this story is more sentimental. It's not really funny. It's not unbelievable. It's just sentimental. So instead of crying while I'm trying to paint my face, I figured I'd paint my face, then take pictures for Facebook, and then I can cry it off because I'm just going to wipe it off after this video anyway. This week is called Paint Walls, Not Build Them. It's not political. I just thought it was a cute kind of title to go along with what's going on today. So y'all know that there were two campuses at my school. I know I just did four. Two campuses of my school. There was St. Paul's, which was like pre-kindergarten through second grade, and then at St. Mark's right up the street was third grade until sixth grade. So we just called the sixth grade the graduating class because they wouldn't be with us after they passed sixth grade. At St. Mark's, upstairs and downstairs were these two long hallways, and they were really dingy. They weren't like a pretty white color. They were more like a prison white, and the upstairs had like railings, and it reminded me of a jail. And your like footsteps would echo in it, and it's just like, oh my gosh, they were very dreary. So ever since I could remember, our school had a really good standing with K-12 Gallery, which is located in downtown Dayton. They have their own set of teachers at K-12, which teach kids art. It's really fun. It's a cool way to get art and creativity into schools. Now, those teachers would come to our school like once a week or so. There were a couple different teachers. Mine was Mrs. Campbell for the longest time. And Mrs. Campbell, if you're watching, you are responsible for this. Okay, I love you. She's on my Facebook. I love her dearly, and her creativity has continued to inspire me. The other teacher they had was Mr. Pate. I never had him, but I just remember him being a very nice, down-to-earth guy. So anyway, our school decided to paint the walls in the hallway. Now, only the sixth grade really knew what was going on. The other classes knew that they were going to be painting the halls, but we thought it was going to be like navy blue, or they're going to paint the walls red. It's not like, we did not expect it to be this big thing. So then we found out that K-12 Gallery was going to be involved, and we're like, okay, this is bigger than we thought. This is going to be something spectacular. It's not going to be just a one wall color. This is going to be a piece of art. For months, every time you'd walk up and down the hallway, there would be a tarp laying down, and I personally never saw any of the kids working on it. They usually worked on it when everybody was in their classroom, so I guess they wouldn't be disturbed while they were painting. But you'd hear like laughing and them cutting up while we're doing tests. I'm like, we're miserable in here doing math, and y'all are having fun painting these walls. Started with the upstairs hallway on the left-hand side. I'm sorry, I forgot my sides. The left-hand side. And right up here, I'm going to post this picture. You can see Mr. Pate working on it. It was really neat. Every kid had their own individual space to paint where they could just come up with anything they wanted to, whether it was meaningful to them or just something they really liked or something that they wanted to express creatively. They had their own space to do it in, and it was like curved at the top like the curve of the earth, because the earth is not flat. And the background was outer space, and Mr. Pate did that. I think some of the students might have like helped a little bit, but he did amazing work. All of them did amazing work, but he was like out of this world, literally, with the outer space scene, as you can see him working on it. These kids were painting this wall for what seemed like forever, and the weird thing is, it wasn't like you'd walk by and a little section was done. It's like you'd walk by and there'd be a whole piece done. It's like, oh my gosh, they really, even though it seemed like it took forever, it was probably just me thinking it did because I was a young kid. The sixth grade that year did the upstairs, and then the school announced that since there were 3 more walls to be done, 1 upstairs and 2 downstairs, that they would go to the respective graduating classes. And the last wall was supposed to be ours, but it never happened. I'll get into that later, though. I don't think our school really expected it to be as big of an experience as it was. This is where the sentimental part comes in, so if I start tearing up, just ignore me. You've seen enough tears this week. I think our school just really wanted the walls painted, and then somebody was like, you know what would be cool if K-12 Gallery got involved? I don't think the thought process was anything past painting the walls and doing a learning activity. But really, what these kids learned was how to bond and be nicer to each other, preparing them to go out into the world. What I mean by that is, let's go back earlier to where I was saying you'd hear laughing in the hallway and stuff like that. To explain a little bit, our school was small. It only went up to 6th grades. Everybody knew everyone's name. We knew of each other, and sometimes you didn't bond with kids. Like, if you said, oh, Caleb Starks, I know he went to my school, I saw him in the hallway, but, do I really know anything about him? Was I friends with him? No. If you said Erin Yu Lee, yeah, I know that name, she went to my school, I can pick her out of a crowd, but I wasn't friends with her. Jessica McLaughlin, I vividly remember that name, but did I ever speak to her? No. Did I kind of not like her? Yeah, because she was kind of snippy. But did I ever really talk to her? No, I didn't. I just knew the name, I know the face. I know faces and names. So that's how the school was. They might know me by name and face, but they never spoke to me. However, the cool thing is, this class that, had cliques, and some people were friends, some people weren't, some people liked each other, some people didn't. Like, while they were painting this wall, it was just a friendly vibe. We were the Lutheran school. We were taught the ways of Jesus, to be nice to each other, to be kind to your neighbor, to be a good person and help each other. And that's what was actually happening. For once, the school was actually living up to its motto, and they were creating peace among each other while they were painting this really cool mural. You'd see kids that were really friends, they'd be helping each other out. Or kids that had previously made fun of each other, they'd be, hey, let me, hold your paint while you're painting so it's easier for you. Or they'd, be buddy-buddy and making jokes. It was a really eye-opening experience. I mean, let's be honest, it was an elementary school. There was no one there older than 14, so we were all immature kids. But the vibe throughout the whole school changed as we were seeing these older kids paint the walls. It's like there was harmony among the church. Everybody was friendly, and all of us were admiring the artwork. I really never remember a negative comment about anything. When it was finally finished, there was a mini unveiling, and each class got to walk down the hallway and look at it. I was taken aback. I know that I was a young kid, and you know how young kids, like I said, are immature, but I was like, this is amazing that they put all this hard work and love and dedication into it. So, the school, I think once they saw, hey, it's not just painting the walls, and they actually learned from it, and they became better students and better people, they started saying, look at the legacy that the 6th grade left behind, and this is going to be in the hallway forever. The school's going to be here forever, and the paintings are going to be appreciated for future classes. So that's what we started to look forward to. We're like, wow, when it comes time for us to paint our wall, what are we going to paint to leave for classes behind us? What are these younger students going to see and think of us? What are we going to leave behind? I just remember, being so excited to finally get to 6th grade and paint the wall. The following year, the downstairs was painted. The left-hand side was painted. I don't remember that one as much. I don't know why. I think because at the time my class was upstairs, so we didn't go downstairs a lot. We didn't get to see the work being done, but you knew it was there, and every once in a while I'd sneak down, I'd walk through the hallway and be like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And the awesome thing about the downstairs hall, there was no railings, so the railing wasn't like a distraction in the downstairs hallways, so you got to really appreciate all the art without a big bar right in the middle. I just remember how cool it was thinking, oh my gosh, we get to do the next wall. We get to do one of the walls. But it never happened. The upstairs left-hand side was done. The downstairs left-hand side was done. The year after that would have been the class ahead of me. They would have painted the wall. But my school decided to add on 7th grade. So, therefore, the wall wasn't painted. It was going to be painted the following year. Unfortunately, that never happened. And I actually left the school after my 6th grade year. I just kind of thought maybe they did paint it, but my friends who still went there were like, nah, it's not happening. Like, it's just not. It was a super awesome project that I don't think many people realize the impact it would have on the young students, the staff, people who walked into our school. Let's get sentimental again. Even back then, it meant a lot to me thinking, I'm going to get to paint this wall, and what am I going to put up there? I can't really even remember what I thought I would paint, because literally, as soon as the first wall was painted, every kid in the school was like, what am I going to paint? Like, I need to plan it now, years ahead of time, so when I get to it, I know exactly what it's going to look like, and I can make it this out-of-this-world phenomenal piece of art. I can't remember what I was going to paint. You know, I can just tell you that everybody thought of that. Every kid, even the kindergartners at the other campus were buzzing about what are we going to paint, even though they wouldn't have gotten a wall. There's only so much wall. But it was cool, you know. It got everybody thinking about the legacy they wanted to leave behind at my school. Flash forward several years, I don't know when the Lutheran school went out of business. All I know is it was somewhere around 2008, 2009, long after I had left. I left in 2004, by the way. But yeah, the school stopped operating, and both campuses ceased any school activity, and all that was left were the churches that were in these buildings. Now, if you remember, both of my schools were a church originally, and then with a school or building attached to it. Unfortunately, St. Paul's Church closed on Christmas Eve a few years ago, and then St. Mark's closed even farther back. Now, I pass these buildings all the time, and let's flash back to about 2016 when my actual church, we were thinking about moving, and everybody in our church was brainstorming about, you know, what building are we going to buy? What building can we rent? Immediately, I suggested St. Mark's. I was like, look, it's got a church, a huge church. It's got a building attached to it where we could host social events for LGBT functions and stuff like that. Unfortunately, my church did not take the bite, and the building was just left empty for years. Every time I passed St. Mark's, I wondered what it looked like inside, and immediately the first thing that would come to mind is, are those paintings still there? Even to this day, it bothered me thinking that someone could have painted over the murals, because they were so special, not only to the kids who painted them, but to the entire school. It was something that we were very proud of, and no matter how much bickering the kids did, or how much we didn't like school, that was still something that when we had guests in our school, that was the first thing that they were shown. These murals that the students had painted and put hard work and love and dedication into. I do know that there was like a Muslim church that was in there for less than a year. I figured maybe they painted over the walls. I know that my school wouldn't have. So I was like, someone probably painted over them. The Muslim church came and went, and then one day I noticed that a Baptist church had bought my school and the church attached to it. It was just a shot in the dark. I emailed the church, I talked to the pastor, and I said, look, I'm a student. I went there from 3rd grade to 6th grade. If ever I'm allowed to come in and just look at the building and relive memories, just let me know. And surprisingly, he was super nice. He's like, come on in. Anytime you want to come in, just let me know. I'm there around the clock. So I went in. I was absolutely thrilled. I didn't want to start crying on this guy because that just would seem weird. But as soon as I walked in, it smelled like my school. It looked like my school. It's like nothing had changed. As we inched closer to the hallways, I got nervous, thinking I'm going to walk in and see painted walls. Closed my eyes and I started to walk in. I walked past the old admissions office and went right to the hallway. And I was like, oh my gosh, the paintings are so here. And he's like, did they do these paintings where you were here? And I'm like, yes. Oh my gosh. I was ecstatic. I did get kind of teary-eyed. And I think he understood because I'm like, I did not paint any of these, but I remember it happening. I remember seeing the kids paint them. I knew the kids who painted them. So, you have someone firsthand who witnessed this happening. It was special to me. It was like, if someone who had, seen the Golden Gate Bridge being built went back to it nowadays and was like, oh my gosh, that's how it felt. I told him as much as I could about the paintings and about the building and what classes were in certain rooms and what went on, so he could relay that to his congregation because they were very curious as to what exactly went on in the building and what the school was about, just who was the Lutheran School of the Miami Valley. The only thing that had really changed in my building is for some reason, my school had built a wall. They literally built a wall downstairs. They sectioned off an entire room. They built like a big wall. I said, wow, I didn't know you guys built a wall. And the pastor's like, no, I think your school did this. It was completely tacky, which doesn't surprise me because my school could be tacky at times. But other than that, nothing had changed. The chapel was way different, but the building, our school, remained the same. The cool thing about this is the pastor told me that they had no plans to cover up the murals. He felt that if at any time in the future they were going to, he would contact me immediately so I could get some of my classmates and we could come down and look and take pictures and kind of bid adieu to these amazing pieces of art. So I think it's unbelievable. To me, it shows the importance of art. Especially art from young kids. The fact that, there's so much stuff that gets covered up and is never remembered. And the fact that this new church came in and saw these murals and they were like, okay, someone painted these for a reason. We don't know why. We don't know what any of it means. Maybe the students don't know what any of it means anymore. But we want to preserve that because it meant something to somebody. Start to wrap up what it means to me personally. The mural taught me a lot about my classmates. I didn't know all of them. Just knew them by name and by face. Didn't even really commingle with them. But it taught me a little bit about them. Seeing their little spaces and seeing what they were painting, it showed me what they were like. Seeing the students paint their individual spaces gave me a glimpse into the person that they were, even though I didn't know them. If all I knew was their name and their face, I knew that they had painted that little space, and whether it be a painting of someone playing basketball or something of nature or Pokemon, it represented them at the time. Even though I never got to paint the wall at all, I still remember it as a learning experience. It made me a better person, and sometimes I sit back and wonder, do those students remember painting their paintings? Do they remember why they painted them? Do they remember having fun doing it? Do they remember the bonding experience that it was and the fact that it made my school a better place? It's just stuff like that, and to me, even now, it's amazing that I remember it so vividly and that it still touches me to this day because I love art, any sort of art, whether it's drawing or painting or makeup or art that you do with your body, dance, ballet. It means something to somebody. I think that any artist does their art so future generations can admire it, draw from it, they can learn from it, they can get inspired by it. I think that's the main goal of an artist. Now, while many of the students didn't go on to do anything with the art that they did, I feel like in that moment in time, they were leaving behind their art for a reason. They were leaving it for us. They were leaving it for future classes so we could remember that in that little bit of time while they were painting, they were friends. They were truly living out what the school was supposed to be doing, which was making us better people through learning and education and religion. I really believe that in the moments of them painting the art, they learn more about being good people or good Christians from painting rather than the so many odd years of doing religion classes and taking chapel every day. I'm sorry, every Tuesday. We only went to chapel every Tuesday. My mistake. So my final message is to all my classmates, all the people that I went to school with. I still appreciate the art, and I hope you do too, even though we're not in the building. We haven't been in school for eons, and we've forgotten a lot. I feel like the most of us still remember these paintings, and we still appreciate them because whether you painted it, or whether your friend painted it, or whether a classmate painted it, it was an expression of an entire generation altogether. You know, the school's gone, all of us students have moved on to different things, faculty's gone, some of us have passed on to God's kingdom. I don't mean to sound preachy, but it has happened. But the legacy of this art still lives on. The legacy of my school still lives on. So my message to the younger generation and to those of us who really like art and appreciate it is, instead of building walls around us to block out other people, paint the walls and make it meaningful so generations after us can learn something from it. Y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video because I've tried to tape it several times, and the last time I tried to tape it, my camera was facing backwards. If this doesn't happen, I'm just literally going to put up the video the way it is, completely unedited. Thank y'all for bearing through all of this mushy, gushy stuff. Next week, we will have a topic that's fun for back to class. We'll get back to something hilarious, I promise. If mushy gushy stuff isn't your thing, you're more than welcome to look at my other videos. I have an entire library and I'm categorizing it for you. I come out with videos at least 3 times a week. We're getting back to that routine, I swear. Things have just been kind of rocky, but we're getting back to it. Or if you don't like videos at all, I would really appreciate if you at least liked the video and you shared it to your friends so people who do like videos would like to see them. Share them with my classmates, literally. I know my classmates, some of them are watching. Share it with the other classmates because I still appreciate you and I still appreciate our school and our values. And last, you know how it is. You know I'm going to bring this up. Head over to my Instagram, 90210 Makeup, where I put up daily looks. You're going to see this look and other looks. I'm trying to be famous in 2019, so let's get there together so I have an artsy legacy to leave behind, since obviously I didn't get to paint the wall. I love you guys so much, and I will see you for Superstar Glam Sunday in a couple days. So stay warm, and I love you dearly.